Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the farmability crisis. Now, I think some of you understand what that means when I say that, but for a very long time, Marvel Strike Force has had a problem when it comes to making characters farmable, and that hole has been growing bigger and bigger and bigger every single month and every single patch. Until more recently, and I'm wondering if we're actually turning over a new leaf now, because there's a couple of things in the data mines for what's upcoming for next patch that makes me wonder whether or not this is actually going to get fixed here now, and maybe, just maybe, Scopely has heard us, fingers crossed, and we might actually get some progress on this. So I want to talk about all about like where we're currently at, where we need to be, and what kind of things that are upcoming that we should start thinking about. So if you're ready to go, then let's boil this down. And of course, everything starts from here. This was Rogue's blog post back in May the 13th. You can see it all the way up at the top of my my screen here in the URL. So May the 13th, this blog came out, and it talked about the character availability cadence. And this was basically Scopely's way of assuring this that they were listening and that they were going to make some changes on this regard. And so we're at July 7th. I'm recording this on July 17th. And so this is basically just over 2 months since this blog post. And so where are we at, right? They talked about how, you know, things have been bad. And it was for a very long time. If any of you followed it's a bit of a running series to some extent, where I've been talking about the farmability crisis every so often, and things were getting worse and worse. But now maybe, just maybe, we're going to get better. So let's talk about some of the ways, some of the characters that have already been addressed in this post here. So we did have Lady Deathstrike. She went into the Mystic nodes, and you know, that's okay, because it was actually fairly player friendly in that regard. We had Shang-Chi. Now, Shang-Chi shouldn't have even been on this list, because when Silver Samurai first was put into the Blitz Orb, he should have automatically been into the Blitz store, Shang-Chi, from the Orb, and it wasn't, because there's two characters. Both of them were in the Blitz Orb until eventually people kicked up enough fuss about this that Shang-Chi was eventually moved into the 500 credits into the store, which is great. You know, I'm farming him on a baby account. One of the top characters in the game that are farmable right now, actually. Icarus and Cersei are not currently farmable. Magic was made farmable in Heroes campaign. Ghost Spider, currently not, but there is a lot of shards available for her in the Raid Season Pass. Also, she's getting an she has an RTA pass on currently. So there is that. You know, I'm not super concerned about Ghost Spider, admittedly, because there's been a lot of shards available. Spider-Punk currently is in the Arena store, in the Arena Orb, which really isn't farmable if you ask me. It's more like Dagger that's farmable from the Arena store. And Star-Lord T'Challa was most recently on this last blog post mentioned that he's going to be going into Doom 3.9, I believe, replacing Multiple Man, which makes him farmable come this week. So there is that. So who are obviously missing from this list? There's also Scarlet Spider is nowhere on this list, but I hope that he gets addressed soon too. Icarus and Cersei. Now, my initial thoughts are that I think one of these characters are going to be made Premium Orb exclusive. I think that's just probably what we're going to get, which means I hope that Kestrel becomes permanently farmable, because that's something important for a new player, if possible, if it's a player friendly spot, because Kestrel was such an integral part of the game for like a year that I think now that because of the power creep, that really she should be made available for the average player, which would be really great if that's possible. And so, which means that somebody needs to replace her, which means that it's probably going to be one of the Eternals. Frankly, I think it's probably going to be Icarus. Cersei is a 45 shard unlock, so I think that maybe they could stick her somewhere else. And that's what we're going to get into, because I want to bring up the data mines really quick here. And we have this here. And thank you for Minball for doing all that work. We have a couple of things. We have a new Pestilence chapter of the Apocalypse Saga. Now, when I first saw that, I was like, I don't know. But now that I think about it, because we're talking about this in the context of farmability, I think that it is indeed going to be a new campaign, which means that we're going to have at least 2 farmable characters added to this for this new campaign section. So if we go back into the game, you know, where we had the addition of Doom War Chapter 4, I think that's over, and they're going to be opening up a new tab, which is going to be specifically for this Apocalypse campaign saga, and the first chapter is going to be the Pestilence chapter. And so I don't know how many exactly there's going to be. If it's just one chapter, or if there's more, who knows? But no, typically, you know, per chapter, there's only like 2 maybe even one character that are farmable in that. You know, chapter 4 is only one, but for chapter 3 and I believe every other one, there's 2 characters in that. So I think at the very least we're gonna have 2 more farmable characters in there at the bare minimum. And then I want to talk about the other stuff, which is not the Doom Raid, because that's not going to be related to farmability, but the store updates. So we've been talking about how far in the hole we are with farmability, and what ways can we get some bulk farming done. And you guessed it, we've been guessing this for a long time, but it never really happened. And honestly, I think it's finally going to be the Cosmic Crucible store. I think they're finally going to be adding some shards into this for some of the characters that need to be. Whether that's Kestrel, or whether that's Deathpool, who are both in the Premium Orb exclusive, or any of the other characters on the current list, and we're going to take a look at who's really, like, that we need to talk about in terms of farmability. I have 55,000 Cosmic Crucible credits. Now, since I finished Dark Dimension 5, which was maybe just over a week ago, I've actually been hoarding my Cosmic Crucible credits because I'm not in any rush to buy teal gear at the moment, because I'm just kind of, like, waiting. I'm waiting to see what they do with the store. I'm waiting to see what Gear Tier 17 comes out, because I think inevitably they're going to add those minis to this store as well. So there's a lot of reasons why I'm actually just hoarding my credits right now, and something that I personally recommend doing if you're not, you're not in any rush to clear Dark Dimension 5, B, you've already cleared Dark Dimension 5 and you don't know what to do next, and so those are the types of people that I'm kind of aiming at with regards to this. I've actually low-key been sort of like saving war credits as well, similarly for the same reason, just so that when something does happen, whether it's Gear Tier 17 or whatever, that I'll be ready, I guess, for that. And so I wanted to raise that really quick. So I do think that they're going to add... They could add as many as 6 characters, maybe 5 or 6 characters into the Cosmic Crucible store. They could have maybe 2 slots, 3 slots, in which case maybe there's like 8 characters. Now, I don't think all of them are going to be the sort of unfarmables. I think that there's going to be a second spot or a different spot for some of these characters as they get shifted around. And that's why I want to talk about where we actually are in the game for farmability. So some of you might actually remember this farmability chart. Now, this is what I call the farmability chart. I've been adding in every single month when characters become farmable, who becomes farmable, and, you know, where they go and that kind of stuff. So just to go back, like, things have been really, really bad. I've talked about this for a while, that since November of last year, things have been really, really bad when it comes to farmability, that we were only getting 1 character a month. You know, we had Anti-Venom in December, we had Shang-Chi into the Blitz Orb, which made... somebody else, White Tiger maybe? Someone else was Misty Knight, was added into the Blitz store, Cloak into the Raid store, Moondragon onto a node, which like took a long ass time, and then Ghost Spider entered into the Raid milestone, so it's like not really farmable, but it was a lot of shards, so I'll give them that. And then Colleen Wing into the Arena store as Dagger approached the Arena Orb. And then after that, we got a little bit better in May. Sometime after this blog post, we had Silver Samurai went into the Blitz Orb. Shang-Chi eventually, after getting backlash for that, was moved into the store. And then Lady Deathstrike onto the node. And then Magic Silver Surfer for the month of June. And now for July, we're at Spider, more like Dagger being farmable in the store. And then T'Challa soon. Not yet, but soon to be on Doom 3.9. So that means that they've been at least committed over the last 3 months to add in 2 characters. But frankly, that's just not enough, because the amount of characters that we're getting released on a patchly or monthly basis is more than 2. We're getting anywhere from 3 to 4 characters released a patch and per month. Actually, I have it counted here, so I have the total released, which is over the course of that month. So you can see over the last few, we had 4 in May, we had 3 in June, 2 so far in July, there's probably going to be another one soon, and then 3 in April, but that also included Morgan, 3, 2, 3. So on average, it's anywhere, but it's probably about closer to 3. Which means that in order to dig out of the hole that we're in, bare minimum, there needs to be either what I think might be happening, which is like bulk farming. And what I mean by bulk farming is, I mean, they're going to release, like, you know, the Cosmic Crucible store. They're going to open up this new campaign. And so there's going to be, like, a bulk, maybe 6, 7 characters, possibly, who knows, that are going to be made farmable right away. And that'll address some of it, but then we're still, like, in the whole 12 characters. So I'm at negative 12 on this sort of list here. This is the net score. What this means is that, like, basically every patch, if you see the negatives here, that it's been getting worse by a factor of 1 or 2 every single patch because of the ratio of characters made farmable to the characters released. And so we're currently at minus 12. And that basically means that to dig out of the hole completely, we need to make 12 characters farmable, which of course is not going to happen. But, you know, if they do make 6 or 7, that makes a decent stab at this. And so what they could do, of course, is make sure that there's like maybe a +1 every single month, and then eventually that digs itself out of the hole, and then I don't know where we go from there, but at least we fix part of the problem, and that's what I want us to get to, and why I've been making these videos for so long, at least once a month, because I think it's really one of my most important issues in Marvel Strike Force is, how bad this has become, right? And we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of a character who should be made farmable. And some people are going to say it is farmable, but it's not, because it's still an orb. And that's going to be none other than Emma Frost. Where is she? She's like so far back. Like, I have to go all the way up here. So this is my character data sheet, right? Okay, so this is Emma Frost. She was released on August 2nd, 2020. And in about 2 weeks, we're going to be on the 2-year effing anniversary of her release. She's gone 714 days. Now, some people might count the milestone orb too, because we get so many of them on a fairly regular basis. But at the end of the day, it's still not farmable. And they really just need to revamp the whole thing. Both of them need to get kicked out. Emma Frost and Simi Spider-Man need to get kicked out. If they're going to keep the orb, then I don't know. Maybe they need to add some other characters in there, or change it up, or make it seasonal, like they said they were going to do back in the day. I don't know if anyone remembers this. They said that they were going to revamp the milestone orb to be a seasonal orb. This never happened. So they really need to fix that. I'm actually, if Emma Frost goes 2 years, which it seems like it might, or she's going to go into this Cosmic Crucible store on the update, then I'm going to have an absolute fit. I'm going to have a meltdown video if she is not made farmable on her 2-month anniversary. 2-year anniversary. And so moving on in terms of the characters that need to be made farmable, like we'll scroll all the way down because that's kind of where we're at now. And most of it is kind of Cersei and Icarus. That's kind of where we're starting at. There's, of course, still some of the other characters like Kestrel and Deathpool, who were previously further a bit back. Deathpool, I don't know why I said farmable, because it's not really, but that was the date of the Premium Orb exclusive on the 1st of December. And, of course, Kestrel way back here. So we have Kestrel, Deathpool, Emma Frost, who's still up there, Cersei, Icarus, more recently anyways, of course, Scarlet Spider, because there's no word for him yet. He's on 200 days, so that's over 6.5 months at this point. Echo, Kate Bishop, Dr. Voodoo, Morbius, and, these are the characters that are above 4 months. So if you can see in this column here, it might be hard to see depending on what kind of device you're running on. 130 days for Morbius, and it grows for further back. And I honestly don't think that characters should go any more than 4 to 5 months before being made farmable. So I think that anyone further back than Morbius should be made farmable at this stage. So that's Morbius, Voodoo, Kate Bishop, and Echo should be farmable. Absolutely, Scarlet Spider should be made farmable. Like, holy shit. Because we have the Pestilence event that's going to probably have a second pass, I would say, in the next month and a half. Right? That's what I hope. And so you need to have the full Web Warriors team farmable, otherwise people will not have a chance to be able to do nodes 5 and 10 at anything above difficulty 4 or 5 or whatever it is that it starts at. And so that's super important. So we have Spider-Punk. He's not in the arena store. He is in the arena orb. So if you don't have him unlocked, luckily he is in the strike pass right now. So I guess that's how they're balancing that out. Scarlet Spider is nowhere to be seen. I hope he's in either the campaign nodes or the Cosmic Crucible store when they add that in. Ghost Spider, there's been a lot of shards available for that, so I'm going to let that one slide a bit, and the others are made farmable. So Scarlet Spider needs to be made right, and so will have to Echo and Kate Bishop, over the next 2 months or so, as we get closer to maybe a second famine pass, 2 or 3 months, right? Like, it just can't be, but they've already been out for 5. So we really can't even wait 2 to 3, because that'll put it closer to 8. And that's so unacceptable. Characters should never go this long before being made farmable. Currently, the Eternals are at almost 9 months in some cases. Soon it's going to be 9 months. It's 8 months for Icarus. 270 days is 9 months. So that's just really crazy and unacceptable. Characters shouldn't be going this long before being made farmable. So I hope that this is like where we're headed to. I hope that we're headed to I want to say bulk purchase, something like Costco for shard farming. Like that's, I guess, as much as people don't want that to happen with the Cosmic Crucible store, I have a feeling that this is where we're headed, and we'll see what the prices are of the shards, 5 for whatever, or 10 for whatever, who knows, right? And what the cost for that's going to be. Inevitably, I think some of the more valuable ones are going to be behind there, and I think that they're going to probably put some other characters that you probably need, or maybe don't, in this new campaign chapter. I mean, they added Symbiote Spider-Man into Do More Chapter 4, but that was at a point where like nobody was really using him anyway. So I'm not really sure where this is headed, but all I know is that we need some bulk shard purchases. We need like 6 to 8 characters now. That will help address that -12 deficit that you saw on my table, and that's what I hope is upcoming in the next week or so as we transition into patch 6.3. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this, what your hopes are. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. Of course, everything is subject to change because this is Scopely, this is Marvel Strike Force, and of course, data buys are always subject to change, blogs are subject to change, this entire game is subject to change. But failing that, I mean, what kind of characters do you want to see made farmable, and what are your predictions for who is going to be made farmable? What about bringing more exclusives? Let me know in the comments down below who you think the one or two characters that are going to replace the existing ones down below. That's the end of this video, and I hope you guys look forward to patch 6.3 because I will for plenty of other reasons, and we're going to be talking that as the week goes on as well. So until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see y'all later. Boilon signing out.